and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined today by my two rather cheerful co-hosts. To my right, it is the one, the only, Uncle Sam.
Swing low, sweet chariot. Hello.
And to my left, it is our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
I can guarantee you the conversation before this wasn't that cheerful.
Was not cheerful. Sam.
It was actually very cheerful.
It was enlightening.
Enlightening?
Cheerful, I don't know, but it was enlightening. And I learned, and I appreciate learning.
I've learned a lot of stuff over the years. When I learned that you could be the biggest man's man in the world and still be a little weird.
And still live in San Francisco for a few weeks.
Still live in San Francisco for 6 months. 7 months, or whatever it was.
And behind the computer, tugging his own chain, as always, it is Bruce, the tugboat, Venditti.
Let's go.
There he is.
This is
White
terrible.
boy
This
Vinny.
is terrible
Look at how
lighting.
pasty.
It's because the lighting. You told me to shut the freaking light off. I disagree.
It looks a lot
I
better.
disagree.
Get that off.
You look great.
Get it off.
I
Get it
think
off
you look
the
great.
screen.
Leave him on. He looks great. You look great, Bruce.
I'm
What are you
nauseated.
doing?
Turn the light back on.
No, then we see you. I don't want to fucking see you.
Anyways, how's your week been so far?
I'm living the dream.
Okay, look how much better that looks.
Yeah, that looks great. Looks like you got the fucking laundry thing behind you there. What are you gonna iron my shirt? Iron my drawers, Bruce.
No, that's actually our.
Go get your fucking shine box.
Get your shine box, Bruce.
Anyways,
You little
how's your week
biatch.
so far? Outside of you living the dream, because
I'm living the dream, dude.
that's what you said the other
Living
day.
a dream. So excited. Finally got my generator in. I'm so happy right now. I
At
could
home?
fucking dance.
Generator at home?
I could dance
know
on
what to do with
Bruce's
my hand.
grave.
Generator at home?
Yes.
Do you lose power a lot?
He
Yeah.
loses power more than us, shocking.
I
Really?
live.
Hold on. This neighborhood never loses power.
I've lost power four
Oh,
or five times.
You're-
I beg
you're
to
on the old
differ
grid.
there.
I'm on the old grid.
on the old
I'm
grid.
on the old grid.
I've lost power 3 total times since the blackout of 2000.
Correct. You're down.
I'm just right there.
Yeah, but it's the block. You want to know where it cuts off?
Like
It's-
Woods Lane. It's Woods Lane.
It's
I think. Or
Joe's
Canterbury.
North Bryce.
North
or
Bryce.
Canterbury.
Yeah,
Either
it's-
the other
it's-
Bryce or Canterbury.
It's Canterbury.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain it's
Well,
Canterbury.
Our old
the
house.
place where I live,
Power.
it's not a real big subdivision, but it's
He's
there's
in the middle
probably
of the
about
fucking
70
woods.
houses in there, 80
Yeah.
houses maybe. But the problem is all my power is underground. Everything's underground. There's no power lines, no telephone poles in my neighborhood, no power lines. But outside my neighborhood, where the power comes in, gets absolutely hammer-fisted. So, you know, I mean, I lose power when it rains or when the wind blows too hard.
Oh, how's Mr. Cat acclimating to his new
Mr. Cat wants to eat
well the new one. What's the
Loco.
new one? Loco.
Loquito.
How's he?
Loquito is going to get eaten by Mr. Cat because Mr. Cat, every time he looks at him like he's a bird in the
fuck are
backyard
you? Yeah.
somewhere. Huh?
He gives him the "Who the fuck are you?" look.
No, he gives I want to eat it. That's the look.
How
he has
big
on his
is
face.
Loco compared to Mr. Cat?
Well, Loco's no bigger than this bottle of water right here. It's about that big. And then Mr. Cat is bigger than your dog.
So wait, where did Loco come from?
I called him that because he's crazy because he fucks with everybody
where
in the
did
house.
Where did the physical cat actually come from?
It came from one of the girls that my daughters work with. She lives in Detroit, in the old neighborhood. She actually lives on Grandmont, where my grandparents lived in Detroit, on the west side. And she had a couple of cats. A couple of them passed on, and she had one left. And he was just a little runt, and he was going to cash out, but we rescued him.
Now he's Loco.
His name is I call him Loco. The girls call him something. I call him Loco because that's all he does is fuck with the other cats, and they want to kill him.
Wow.
So I like him, but the other cats
What's an
can't.
actual.
The only cat that actually tolerates him is Gatito. Gatito will tolerate him to the point where he wants to eat him too. Because yesterday I was sitting there and he was attacking Gatito because he attacks everything. He even attack you. If you do this, he's right on you. He's little. He's a ball of energy, dude.
Do Godito or Mr. Cat ever get jealous that they technically have the same name?
Only if my white no, if my wife is paying too much attention to the little one, Loco,
He goes loco.
Gatito gets pissed off.
Oh, do any of them have their nuts still? One of them had their nuts for
Just
a long time.
The little tiny one does.
The little tiny one has his nuts.
Right. We got to take him to the vet here. We're waiting till he gets a little bigger.
And then
'cause
get
he's
him
got to be
snipped.
so many pounds.
Got
before
it.
you can
Okay.
Take him.
Okay.
So,
Tipped cats. Tipped felines. Zolo, how's your week going so far?
You know, I might be coming down with something.
Okay.
I'm not happy
We've
about
all
that.
been there, yeah.
But it seems moderate.
yeah, you know what
Yeah.
you got?
Seems
You
moderate.
got, you got the little drip like he had.
I
when
had
he
a
came
sinus
back.
drip.
infection.
The
Yeah,
nasal
it's
drip.
from you.
I was not
From
contagious.
you.
No, 'cause I
Motherfuckers
would've-
travel
I
all
would've
over. Who
bucked
knows what
it.
you got?
I would have bucked it, but you know, this week surprisingly has not dragged. It's almost Friday. It's almost game day. Going to Ann Arbor Saturday too. So
Who does Michigan have this week?
Stay warm.
Indiana. That's a conversation in here. That
Oh,
we
we're
can-
Stay warm.
Are we actually going to get
Yeah.
college today?
Yeah, I put it high up, so we
All right,
have
let's
to
rock.
talk about it.
Let's do this.
Okay. We are going to start off with the conversation that we ended Monday's show with. And that seems to just we were a little bit ahead of the trend here because this conversation's sweeping the nation right now. Sports talk radio everywhere has picked it up. I spent all day fighting about it, and that is Brock Purdy.
God damn it.
So I'm going to go to my text here just to revisit this slightly. Some of the things that were said today.
On our deal?
No, just it was
On the tip balls thing?
no. It's a different. It's just a side conversation that I had.
Okay.
Okay. So this article was sent to me, and it's called "The Luck Adjusted Quarterback Efficiency," and it essentially said that Brock Purdy and Jordan Love are the two luckiest quarterbacks in the league right now, due to the fact that Brock Purdy has had 4 should-be interceptions dropped and 3 should-be lost fumbles recovered by his own team. That's how this started
Okay.
off. Okay. And then I got multiple times that San Francisco has the best graded offensive line, or they have the best offensive line in football.
I agree with that.
Well,
I got stats that say that they don't.
that's fine. Trent Williams,
No,
highest,
I agree with that.
highest graded offensive lineman in football is Trent Williams. PFF currently has San Francisco at 13 as far as total offensive line grades.
Ooh.
Okay.
So,
I think that's low.
well, it's just throwing these out there. And I also, it was brought to my attention that there are at least 20 quarterbacks currently active in the NFL that if you imported them into the starting quarterback position of the San Francisco 49ers, they would still be 5-0. 20.
Okay.
That puts Purdy essentially in the bottom 12 in my eyes.
Okay.
One more thing that was brought to my attention. If you put Purdy in New England, they wouldn't be any better than they are right now.
I agree with that too.
One last thing. If you gave those weapons, CMC, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brendan Ayuk, to any quarterback in the league, they would be just as effective as Brock Purdy.
I would say yes to that, with one exception. Dak Prescott.
I will say Dak Prescott, in this conversation that I had, Dak Prescott was one of the ones that would not be 5-0. He was, so he's
No, 'cause-
essentially Dak Prescott was in
Listen,
the bottom 12.
Dak Prescott is dog shit. Okay? Dog shit.
Also, the other arguments were Purdy has never had to come back. Purdy's always had a lead.
Correct.
Purdy has the best defense in the league, so he
Correct.
doesn't need to do anything. He does not have enough attempts per game to make mistakes. And this went on and
All
on and
very viable
on. And
things
you
that
know
you're
what?
talking about.
I was listening. I wasn't agreeing, but I was listening
Okay.
until I heard this. If you put Josh Dobbs as the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, they would be 5-0.
There's an argument that for all these things. Listen, women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. And any number can be manipulated and twisted to make it say whatever you want it to say. Some of the things that were said I agree with, some of them I don't, but I'll tell you this much. I've watched a lot of the Niners at this point. I've watched out of their 6 games, I've seen at least pieces of 5 of them. Watched a lot of the Niners, and I can tell you that Brock Purdy is making throws that not a lot of people can make. Now, there's 2 separate arguments. There's the, Brock Purdy is fucking garbage argument. And then argument number 2 is, well, you could throw a lot of other people behind center in that offense and they'll be viable. Okay? There's 2 separate things going on. I don't disagree that there's a lot of quarterbacks that would look good in San Francisco. I can tell you that they moved on from 2 quarterbacks in the last 2 years alone, including one that's starting for another team in Jimmy Garoppolo, because they think Brock Purdy is that much better than them. Go ahead.
The Jimmy Garoppolo thing is real simple to figure out. That's cap money. That was cap money.
Bullshit. That's bullshit.
Bullshit. That was cap
Bullshit.
money. Garoppolo is no longer in San Francisco for a reason. And the reason being, that's a money issue. That was a money issue. They didn't want to fucking pay him.
Garoppolo's no longer there because Garoppolo
And he was hurt.
1, he couldn't pass physical.
Correct. He was hurt.
2,
So they moved on from him.
2, he wasn't that good.
Stop.
The 49ers weren't winning, weren't blowing people out last year.
It didn't matter. They were still winning ball games.
They were winning
Garoppolo
games,
as
but
quarterback.
it was never not in question, right? We're talking about a San Francisco 49ers team that is, outside of the Rams game, has destroyed every opponent they've had.
They haven't really played anybody really good yet.
See? There was another argument. Hold on.
Beside the Rams in Dallas?
Hold
Who
on.
did they play that were real good?
They've played 2
Okay.
top, I think I'm trying to remember the PFF grade, 2 top 6 defenses.
Who's that?
Pittsburgh and Dallas.
Well, Pittsburgh's a shit show. Why did they
They
beat
have a top
Pittsburgh?
6 defense.
Pittsburgh couldn't
They
move
have
the
a top
fucking
6
ball at all.
defense. They have a top 6
Kenny
defense.
Pickett was fucking
Brock
hurt.
Purdy isn't on the field the same time Kenny Pickett is.
Oh, Jesus.
They were going up against
All
2
I'm saying
top
is that
5 defenses.
You just picked a team that barely can field the fucking offense right now.
Dude, I'm not talking about Pittsburgh's offense. Brock Purdy against Pittsburgh's defense. What happened?
Listen.
They blew him out.
Okay.
Brock Purdy against Dallas's defense. What happened?
What happened? They didn't show up.
They blew him out.
They didn't show up. When your quarterback throws 3 fucking interceptions on 3 straight possessions,
They blew
you are
them
putting
out.
your defense at a decent rate.
See,
Out
you
their
guess what? Yeah,
Huh?
you continue to make the same excuse.
I
We're not
understand
talking
that.
about Dallas's
The fuck,
offense,
dude. What are you talking about?
We're talking about Brock Purdy versus 2 top 6 defenses.
Okay, so a top 6 defense that was on the field for fucking 15 minutes, 20 minutes straight? Give me a break, dude. You know
It's a top
exactly
6
what it is.
defense.
If you're going up against a team that can't sustain any kind of fucking drive, you're putting your defense at a disadvantage. I watched the New York Jets beat your Buffalo Bills
Who's Buffalo
with
Bills?
barely a fucking offense.
Can I tell you right now, you want to say my Buffalo Bills? I would take Brock Purdy right now over Josh Allen. You want to know why?
Okay, go ahead.
Because Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes. Josh Allen,
Not yet.
How many games
Not yet.
in recent memory
Not yet.
has Josh Allen thrown a late
I've watched him throw
60-yard
games
pick?
away constantly. So.
Thank you.
It goes back to that game manager argument with Tom Brady. You know what the Patriots always did well? Always did well. Like, it's the reason why they were always in it. Because, in my opinion, their teams, a lot of the time, they were beating the more talented team. And when they lost, it was the counter. They were the more talented team, losing to the team that did what well? They didn't make mistakes.
They never make mistakes.
Tom Brady, I don't think is some world-beating, world-class athlete compared to a lot of the quarterbacks
I
we've
totally
seen the
agree
last
with
30
you.
years. But he made minimal mistakes. And when you're in, this applies to all professional sports. The teams that have the most success are the teams that mitigate the mistakes. And that's what Brock Purdy does. Yeah, okay, you could say 4 balls should have been intercepted, whatever. And then you can make the counter argument that there's balls that were intercepted for other teams that shouldn't have been intercepted because of they were tipped balls. Because they were tipped balls. Anyways, that argument goes both ways. That's just how it works. I can tell you
It is
that
what it is.
I
When you got major people that are in this industry telling you that Brock Purdy isn't much to fucking write home about.
Who?
Huh?
Who's saying
Mike
it?
Valenti.
Oh,
Supposed to be one of the
Jesus
biggest guys in
fucking
Michigan.
Christ.
That's a talking point
Detroit
because
based-
Please.
his co-host.
Based talk show host
He's a
that's
bum.
been doing this for a long time.
He's a bum.
Listen,
Okay.
He's been a bum for
I
years.
said that, and you guys were all over me on that.
That's
When?
clickbait.
I said he was a fucking cocksucker.
When?
Then why do you have his back now?
That's
I have his
clickbait.
back now because
His
he's
Hold
back
on,
now
hold on. Let me
because
if he's
he,
wrong,
because he
I'm willing
supports
to
his
admit it.
argument.
Let me
He's
get this out
wrong,
of the
I'm
way with
willing to
Valenti
admit
right
it.
now. The only reason that it was a talking point on that show, is because Rico, his co-host,
Correct.
is from Detroit and a 49ers fan somehow. And they just razz him about it all the time. Listen, I don't disagree that there's people you could put under center that would have a lot of success, but I can tell you that Brock Purdy is pretty damn good. You still have to make the most of the opportunity.
That's your opinion of Brock Purdy.
Hey, you want to know
I think
something?
the team is that good.
The
team is that good.
Can I point something out to you?
Sure, go ahead.
It's not just his opinion on Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Right now,
Yeah.
betting odds in Vegas, Brock Purdy is 6th
Okay.
to win MVP.
He's third among
The betting odds
quarterbacks.
have known to been rigged. Anyway.
He should be only behind Tua and Josh Allen at the moment. The numbers I had the other day was on a different sports book. He was third, and his numbers went from like plus 7,000 to what is he at now?
Plus 600.
Plus 600. At some point, you gotta just watch him make the throw. He's making the throws. Yeah, there's some great catches.
He's making some of the throws.
There's
yes.
some spectacular
Yes.
catches, but he's not making some of the throws because he's got an 80% completion percentage, pretty much, and his QBR is the highest in the
Little
league
under
at the
that, but
moment.
Yeah.
There's no one with a higher QBR. And on top of that, I went over this the other day. I gave you the advanced numbers on Purdy the other day. His throws downfield are so damn accurate that there's no one throwing the ball downfield better than him. Of course, that has a lot to do. I think Brandon Ayuk's got great hands. I think Kittle's got great hands. Regardless, at some point, it's got to be about what he's
The
actually
offensive
doing in
line
the
is
field.
protecting him well.
His
Can I ask you a
offensive
question?
line is
The running
not a
game
top
flourishes.
five.
The reason why that offense goes is because of their running game. Their offensive line is probably the best run blockers in the NFL.
Actually,
bar none.
on the contrary, they're a bottom 10 run blocking defense.
I don't
They're a
believe that.
top 5 pass blocking.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I'm just
I
telling
think
you how
their
it's graded out.
Their offense, to me, watching them as I'm not going to go by a number. I'm watching them as a person watching it. When you watch that team run block, they're exceptional.
Can I ask you a
They're
question?
exceptional.
Okay.
The receivers block well. Deebo Samuel blocks like a fucking tight end, dude. He's fucking real good. And when these guys get into open field, they're wide open, dude. And it doesn't matter if it's Christian McCaffrey or anybody else that they plug into that offense. They're still doing well.
Counterpoint. As a complete
Counterpoint shit.
as a complete offensive unit, who has better weapons, Miami or San Francisco?
Miami.
I'd say, outside Tariq Hill.
Tariq Hill,
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle, Berrios, all their running backs.
Mostert,
Okay.
A-Chain, Wilson.
Who
So
has
you think Mostert's better than McCaffrey?
No,
but-
You
absolutely
think
not.
A-Chain is better than
as a
McCaffrey?
unit,
Just
as a unit,
broad weapons.
Okay.
Broad weapons.
All
Deebo
together.
Samuel outside fucking Tariq Hill.
I would take
who I think is the best receiver in
I would take
football
Hill
at this
and
point.
Waddle above both receivers on the 49ers.
So would I. 100%.
No way. There's no
Absolutely.
way I would take Waddle over Ayuk. You're out of your mind.
The only two
You
skill
are out of your
Ayuk's
fucking
a
mind.
glorified Mike
the
Williams.
only two skill
Fuck,
possessions I'm
stop.
taking
Stop.
over anything Miami has are obviously Kittle and obviously McCaffrey.
Correct.
Those are the only two
They
skill
don't have a
position
fucking Jordan. Kittle. They don't.
Miami's offensive line is rated 5th, which is 8 spots higher than San Francisco's.
Okay, well, you're talking about.
But
what
I'm
are
just
you talking
hold
about
on.
here?
I'm just saying.
Miami
they
doesn't have a fucking defense a quarter of what fucking San Francisco has.
But again,
Again, what?
the reason why they fell so far behind in that Bills game was Tua's
What are you
decision
talking
in
about?
the
They were
Bills game.
totally flat, dude. They came out totally flat.
Why hasn't San Francisco
I don't,
come
I
out
don't
flat?
want to hear this shit.
Why hasn't San Francisco come out flat?
Why
That's
haven't
number
they?
one.
Why haven't they? They're very well coached. Very well coached. Their defense obviously showed everybody they're the number one defense in the NFL.
And number 2, when did we start being critical of players for being in a good situation? Right? Brock Purdy.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to sit here with
Brock
this
Pur-
liberal fucking
No, I'm not.
pitch back and forth with you.
There's
From
no
what I've
pitch
seen,
back and forth.
Brock Purdy is an average quarterback. He is a fucking average quarterback playing in a quarterback-friendly system.
See, there you
behind,
go. We're blaming. We're saying
behind a guy that will shit the bed come at the end.
We're saying that Brock Purdy's average because he's in a system that's perfectly tailored to him.
Correct.
He has a ton of good weapons.
Correct.
He has a good defense and a good offensive line. So he's to blame.
It kind of sounds like the Lions to me.
He's to blame. Yeah.
I'm not blaming him at all.
Jared Goff got ran out of town in L.A., but he comes here and he's in a system that's tailored to him with weapons that are great, with a defense that's playing way above what they should be, with the second best rated offensive line in football. So is Jared Goff a bum too?
Jared
You
Goff's
think the
MVP
Detroit Lions
candidate.
are the second best offensive line in football?
Absolutely.
I don't agree with
They're graded as the second best
think?
offensive line
I
in
don't agree with that.
football.
I'm not grading anything.
But
from what
That's
I've
fine.
seen, they're not the second
Who's better?
best Philadelphia's offensive line.
Philadelphia's number one. There you go.
Yeah. And I would put San Francisco right there too.
But they're not. They're
Listen,
not.
you watch the game. You watch the game on Sunday. You know what
I
San
watched the
Francisco?
games,
You know
yes.
you know what San Francisco didn't do well on Sunday?
Pass block.
What?
No, run block.
No, they
Run block.
listen.
They didn't run the
went
ball
up
well on
against a
Sunday.
team that was trying to stop the run. That's the key. They know what makes San Francisco go. The problem was the offense couldn't counter what they were fucking trying to do. That's the problem. When your defense is on the field the majority of the game, you're fucked. You're fucked. I don't care who you are. You're fucked. What's the time of possession in that game?
I don't have the
I
time
don't know.
of possession.
That's
I'm
a big
sure it was a
fucking
lot
thing
to a
there.
little because the quarterback
Big numbers, analytics.
the quarterback for the other team turned the ball over 3 times. So of course
Exactly.
you're going to win the time of possession.
Three straight possessions.
And I don't disagree with you. That's tried and true. The best offense is a good defense because if your defense is getting off the field quick and your offense effectively runs the ball, you're going to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay? That's how good you're going to be.
When you get up on a team, and San Francisco's really good at this, they get up on a team early. They get up on it. They jump out to a 10-point lead. All of a sudden, that's what sets that defense. They just fucking pin their ears back, and that's what they're fucking good at. So you got your defense pinning their ears back, and you got guys like Tafunga jumping routes fucking early in a game, making things happen, causing turnovers. Every team wants to do that. Every team tries to do that. You watched Pittsburgh do that last week. Pittsburgh should have lost that game against Baltimore. What did they do? They turned him over. They turned Lamar Jackson over. Probably one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And you've seen what they did.
Listen, I've talked about Purdy ad nauseum at this point.
Yeah, so have I. But I want to throw up if I got to talk about him again.
I'm going to take your temperature soon.
I don't have to.
I hate to break it to you, but I don't understand. Everybody watched Jimmy Garoppolo there, and it didn't work.
Whatever, dude.
It wasn't nearly as effective as it is now.
Nothing
You
has
can go
worked.
back further if you want to. Keep going back.
Colin Kaepernick was
Go
there.
back.
It wasn't effective.
Hey, he was.
Did they
I got
win
a major
did they win a
contract
Super
'cause
Bowl?
of that.
Did they win a Super Bowl?
No, they
Then it
lost to
wasn't-
Baltimore.
And it wasn't effective.
Right.
It wasn't effective.
Right. But that same offense, the same fucking offense.
Correct.
They should have won that game. You know what happened? They got away from doing what got them there. They
There's-
stopped running the football.
I'm
What
not
the
gonna-
fuck?
You're the first one to sit
Am I the
here
only
and tout
fucking
Kyle
dumb guy in the
Shanahan.
fucking room?
You're the one to sit here. You tout Kyle Shanahan more than anybody else on this desk.
What do you mean I tout him, dude?
You do.
I talk about him like
About how
he's-
great him
Are
and
you
his
fucking
dad
serious,
both were.
Dude? Who has blown more fucking opportunities than Kyle Shanahan? Who? You name one fucking guy who's
Brandon Staley.
no. You name one guy who's blown more out of
Brandon
opportunities of winning than Kyle Shanahan.
He's got
Pete
2.
Carroll.
Hey, you know what?
What do you mean he's got 2?
I'm really going to.
Go ahead.
He's got 2 big ones. He's
oh,
got
he's
2
got more than 2.
He's got more than 2. He's got 2 big ones that
Yeah.
come to mind. But you know what the difference between this Kyle Shanahan team is
What?
and those teams are? He's got
What?
Brock fucking Purdy now to
Yeah.
fucking lead him to the promise.
Amen.
You'll see.
That
see
is
at-
the whole point.
You'll see at the end. He
That
proved
is
that
the
last year,
whole
didn't he?
point.
Goodbye.
He didn't have Brock Purdy last year. And as soon as Brock Purdy went out, they lost.
They lost.
Exactly. And that'll
They
happen
lost.
again.
If Jimmy G was good, he would have won because I don't. Yeah, of course.
Jimmy G was hurt. You can't fucking.
What about the other
You guys
years?
keep going back to Jimmy G. Jimmy G was actually producing in his offense. Nobody fucking remembers.
2 years ago, where were they? Garoppolo was there. He had the same offense he had now. 2 years ago.
Yeah, the guy was hurt.
No,
How
that
many
was
fucking
last year.
How many games did he fucking miss? How many games did Jimmy G miss in the last 2 years.
He missed a lot, but that's not the point. Then what about Trey Lance, who was a top 5 pick? What do we do about Trey Lance?
Trey Lance got hurt in his fucking second game as a fucking 49er, and guess what? He never played
Jimmy
again.
Garoppolo played 15 games in 2021.
How did he do in those
22?
15 games?
In 2022, he played 11.
Okay.
In
2 years.
In those 15 games, in 2021, we'll use that. That's the sample size. That's a good one.
Okay.
He was 68%. He has 68% completion percentage.
Okay.
His quarterback rating was 82.
Okay.
Interceptions, he had 13.
Okay.
Touchdown passes, he had 20.
Okay. So he was serviceable.
And he was sacked 11 times all year.
Okay.
Okay.
And in how many of those games did he have all of the weapons that Brock Purdy has?
You can't listen.
Well, there we go.
The difference.
Apples and oranges,
No, it's
right?
not.
If Tariq Hill wouldn't have got hurt last year, the Dolphins probably would have won the Super Bowl.
The only difference is McCaffrey. The only difference between them and he still technically had McCaffrey at the end, but the only difference is McCaffrey. And let me tell you why. Because he had Mostert and he had Jeff Wilson and Matt Breida and he had
those
very
guys
good running
were constantly hurt. That's why they weren't there.
No offense runs the ball better than Kyle Shanahan's offense. Whether you want to look at it in St. Louis in LA with McVay, whether you want to look at it with what LaFleur's done or what McDaniels has done.
In Atlanta?
I don't think Atlanta. Well,
his offense
in Atlanta. Yeah, his offense in Atlanta. He had Deontay Foreman in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Same drill.
Okay.
So no offense has ever ran the ball better than Kyle Shanahan's offense. And then his
Kyle Shanahan will do is he'll get you there, get you a nice lead, and then shit the bed.
So what I'm trying to say is,
but they're not shitting the bed.
I'm trying to say McCaffrey
well, we don't
is
know
not
that
the difference.
yet. We're only 5 games in.
They're 5-0.
We're 5 games in. That's nothing.
Who looks
every
like
other
we're not
quarterback
even in half the season
Every
yet.
other quarterback outside of Jalen Hurts has shit the bed. Tua shit the bed against Buffalo. Buffalo shit the bed against
Tua
the Jets.
was a ragdoll that got his fucking brain popped out of his head.
That was
for
last
5 straight
year.
weeks.
Like, come on.
Well, what are we talking about here?
Come on.
Listen,
everybody else has shit the bed already.
You're talking about the choking, which is fair, and Kyle Shanahan's offensive choking, whatever, everything.
That's what he does.
I take stock in it. You know what the difference is, though? Now he has a quarterback that can make the throws.
See what happens.
I think if you get this current incarnation of Brock Purdy on that offense, on that 2009 team that lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, this offense is way better than that team. But if you put Brock Purdy in that offense with those pieces, I think Brock Purdy's making some big throws against Mahomes in that game, and it's a different outcome. Because that was the difference in the game, is Mahomes had the ball last, and he made the most of it. And then, of course, Kyle Shanahan's play calling. But I think the difference is now he's got a guy that can make the throws. If you want to say the jury's out, that's fine. I'm telling you that we have enough of a body of work right now on Brock Purdy.
How many games has he played?
14.
In the
He's played 14. He's never lost a game. He's literally never lost a game. And they're doing his
not one that he finished. Not one that he finished.
Not one that he finished.
He lost the NFC Championship.
And he's doing historic things for a historic franchise.
That's a loss.
He's the catalyst for that. He is the catalyst. I'm just saying, like, at some point, it's got to not be about, like, what he has and what he doesn't have. It's got to be about what he's actually doing.
Correct.
Women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. His completion percentage is the best in the league. He has no interceptions. He's got the highest QBR. He's undefeated. He's literally never lost a game. Am I saying he's the most talented guy in the world? No, he's
He lost the NFC Championship.
He's not, but they do everything he asks. He makes the throws. And at some point, you have to realize he's in a... I've been saying this for years in all sports. It's all situational. Tom Brady was situational. He needed so many things to go right to be Tom Brady. And you know what? He took advantage of the opportunity. Brock Purdy needed 2 quarterbacks to go down last year in a perfect situation. Guess what? He's undefeated, and he's the leading, one of the MVP candidates on a team that's favored to win the Super Bowl right now. That looks as good in the first 2 months of a season as any team that I can remember. I don't remember a team looking this good at the beginning of a year.
You tell me.
Philadelphia Eagles did last year.
I think the Niners
look better.
The Niners look significantly better than the Eagles did last year.
Than last year?
Yes.
Than last year's Eagles. 100%.
Remember
their margin of victory.
Lost to the Lions.
Their margin of victory is higher. Their efficiency is higher, and then the defense. I still think the Niners' defense. I'm like, this is one of your points. Is their defense is one of the best in the league, and I agree with that.
Who's San Francisco going to lose to this year? Honestly,
we'll see.
No, I'm asking you. What? Who right now could you see?
They're going to lose to somebody you don't expect them to lose to. Guaranteed.
See, they're
guaranteed. I got a feeling they're going to lose to the Rams. They play the Rams again, they're going to lose.
That happens
Okay.
when they're not prepared. And I don't see this team coming into a game and
See what happens,
seeing
dude.
them not
Hey,
prepared.
You never know. You never know what's going to happen.
My last thing, and then we'll move on.
He could go down like a sweet muffin, just like he did in the championship game, and it's over.
You truly think that if you put Mac Jones or Josh Dobbs in this offense right now, they'd be 5-0?
Yes, I do.
With 1,000%.
Yep. You put Dobbs in there? Absolutely. Mac Jones, maybe not.
Ryan Tannehill.
Dobbs, yes.
Ryan Tannehill.
I'm not going to sit here and go through the fucking
I'm not going through all
names
of them.
and all that
I'm asking
bullshit.
you a couple
How
guys.
about Sam Darnold? Put Sam Darnold in there, the same thing would be happening right now.
That's just wild to me. That's absolutely.
Believe what you want. I've watched this game a little bit longer than you guys have.
Yeah, but we've watched Sam Darnold play for multiple years.
I've seen Sam
doesn't
Darnold
matter.
on 3 different
Doesn't
teams
matter.
in
I
multiple
watched Sam
different
Darnold play
systems.
beyond his abilities last year.
Yeah, but
if he hadn't got hurt, they could have really did some damage. They didn't just beat up Tampa Bay. They made the defending champs fucking bow out mercifully. They absolutely ass pumped the Detroit Lions last year with Sam Darnold as
Dude,
quarterback.
they were
and
7
Sam
and
Darnold
10.
was fucking good. in
They
that
were
game.
7-10.
Whatever, dude. He got hurt. What do you want? What do you want? When he went down, it was over. They were looking at P.J. Walker and somebody else. I mean, come on, dude.
I mean,
What are we doing here? You know what it is. You've seen it.
no, what I saw is a
You
quarterback.
didn't even watch half the fucking games last year. Stop. You were on vacation, remember?
Every single time I'm on vacation, I watch the games.
I
No
don't believe
questions
that.
asked.
I don't believe that whatsoever.
It's all I do all day.
Yeah, I know.
You think Zach Wilson's on the 49ers? They're 5-0?
Shout out to Leon,
I don't
President
know, dude.
Baker.
I'm not going to sit here and go through it.
We're not going through it.
know.
I'm
Leon
asking you a
says
question.
that.
See, when we're on the podcast,
Here, I'll give you one right. I'll give you one
no,
right
I
now.
didn't. I don't want one. I asked you.
I'm
going
gonna
to
give you one right now.
I want Zach Wilson.
Brett Favre could come out of fucking retirement tomorrow and quarterback the San Francisco 49ers.
If
Luckily,
Zach-
he's going to jail
be
for
5-0.
nursing home frauds. We're gonna have
Zach
to
if
work
he
with
wasn't
that.
going to prison.
If Zach Wilson, this is from the comments, if Zach Wilson was on the 49ers, would they be 5-0?
Probably.
Wow.
Probably. I truly believe that team is so well coached, and it's nothing
But
against.
you just, hold on.
Listen,
You just sit
Shanahan-
there and say that they're so well coached, and
Hold
then
on.
in the same sentence,
Can I
talk
fucking
about how
finish?
Shanahan shits the
Can
bed.
I finish? Shanahan chokes. He shits the bed in the big
That's
games.
not well coached. then.
Period.
That's not
They
well
are a
coached.
very well coached team. The problem is when Shanahan gets his little fucking rat claws into calling plays, he fucks everything up.
It's hard to comprehend how a well coached team always drops the ball in the big game.
I'm not gonna. Okay. Do you think the Dallas Cowboys are well coached?
Absolutely
football
not.
team?
No.
Yeah. Do you think the New England Patriots are a well coached football team?
Right now,
No, go back
Right
5
now?
years ago.
5
Yeah.
years
Were
ago,
they a
Yes.
well coached football team?
Yes.
absolutely. They're the
You think
best
so?
coached football team of all
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
They're the most prepared football team.
Of
ever.
all time.
bandwagon jumper.
I'm not a bandwagon
Yeah,
jumper,
you are.
but I recognize
Yeah, you are. You jumped the bandwagon on fucking New England, and you jumped the bandwagon
I was
on,
a Brady fan before I
on-
was a New England
on
fan.
the fucking Tampa Bay
But
Buccaneers.
now we got him on the Lions bandwagon, and that's all that
I was a
matters,
Brady
baby.
fan before I was a Patriots fan.
Stop.
Actually,
what?
he
I was a
has to be
Brady
alive.
fan before I was
Whatever,
a
dude.
Patriots fan.
That's gay.
Okay.
Anyway,
Is what it
I think you just hate San Francisco for some reason.
what do you mean? I think the most winningest quarterback that ever played the fucking game was on San Francisco.
Not the most winningest.
The whole time I
Not
was
the most
growing up.
winningest.
Yes.
No, Tom Brady's the most winningest.
No. The guy who was utter perfection in Super
There we
Bowls.
go.
You
You
can't say
keep
that
your
about
wordage
Tom
right.
Brady.
Keep
Don't
your
ever say
wordage
that
right.
about Tom Brady. You know what? Even Terry Bradshaw won more fucking consecutive Super Bowls than Tom Brady.
I mean,
Terry
How you
can I
like
ask you,
that?
what would you rather?
Terry fucking Bradshaw, who is in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know how, but Terry fucking Bradshaw. You know what? That reminds me, Brock Purdy, Terry Bradshaw. Reminds me of something. It reminds me of back in the 70s when all I had to do was turn around, hand the fucking ball off, smack it down the field about fucking 8 to 10, 12 times a game, and let the defense play. It's the same fucking difference.
Terry Bradshaw went back to back.
What are you
twice.
showing me?
Sam,
I have a DM from Leon saying,
Can you,
"Tell Sam I said he skipped Bayless."
I'm sorry?
Leon says you're Skip Bayless.
Listen, I think Skip Bayless is a little pussy. How about that? Okay? He's a big cunt.
Okay.
Skip Bayless couldn't hold my fucking jockstrap.
Yeah, Leon came in the comments and said that you're the current.
I don't care what he says either. He sucks too.
Who leads the league in yards? Or I'm sorry, where does Brock Purdy rank in yards currently?
I don't care where Brock Purdy is at in yards. I really don't.
Passing yards,
Is he in the top 10?
8.
Life could be a dream.
8.
Shaboom.
Yards
So-
per attempt, he's second.
Yards per attempt, he's second, and completion percentage, run that. I know he's number one.
Obviously, he's at the top. With Goff is right there too. So it's apples and oranges, bud.
How's it apples and oranges?
It's apples and oranges.
Completion percentage, shockingly enough, is Josh Allen and then Brock Purdy.
So 2.
Huh.
What about QBR? Purdy should be number 1.
He is number one.
And again, completion percentage downfield, so the throws that are riskier and harder to make, it's still Brock Purdy. And
Correct.
it's at some point,
Brock Purdy's at 123.
I'm not even
on the year.
denying any of your arguments. I'm not even denying that it's you need a good offensive line and you need playmakers. There's a guy that's still got to make the throws.
Right.
And they have the guy that's making the throws, and he's making them beautifully. Like, if you look at his balls, they're right there in tight spaces. In
A couple of
in
games
coverage.
that I seen, he was off. I seen him off quite a few times, actually.
His numbers don't
maybe
take
his,
off.
Maybe his analytics are hitting
It's
numbers.
not analytics. That's just simple completion
whatever.
percentage.
I seen him playing, dude. I watched. Brandon Ayuk is making acrobatic catches trying to catch this guy's passes.
Brandon Ayuk was out for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, after that, because he got him fucking killed. That's why. He's throwing into coverage, getting guys killed, just like Matt Stafford used to do. I know. I watch it.
Wait, did you compared Terry Bradshaw and Brock Purdy?
Yeah.
That's 2 Super Bowls.
If
in the Hall of Fame.
if Brock Purdy can win a Super Bowl,
And a
if
perennial
Brock Purdy
analyst
can
on
win-
Four,
Fox.
excuse me, that's 4 Super Bowls,
Correct.
back to back, and a
Correct.
trip to the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
I would say it's a pretty damn good career
Well, yeah. Guess what? Why do you think he's in there?
because
Why
he
do you
won
think
4
he's in
Super
there?
Bowls.
It wasn't his numbers.
He won 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he had the best fucking defense in the goddamn
see,
decade.
why do we take that away? Why is that the takeaway?
Because it's the truth.
So what? Just because
It's the fucking truth.
if you're on a team with a good defense,
you don't even
then
know
the
you were still
quarterback's
in your
garbage.
dad's bag.
But
You were still in your dad's
your
bag,
argument
dude.
makes no
You have
sense.
no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Your argument makes no sense. If a
It
team
makes
has a good,
sense.
no, it doesn't.
You don't know what you're talking about. You didn't see it.
Dude,
Only people above the age of 40
I
know what
started
I'm
this
talking
months
about.
ago.
you're insane.
I planted the seeds
You're
for this
fucking
conversation months ago.
if
Garbage.
If you have a good
Garbage.
defense,
Garbage.
if you have a good defense and win a Super Bowl, you get no credit. So that year Denver won the Super Bowl. It wasn't Peyton. It was all the Denver defense. The year
I didn't say
Baltimore won
you said it.
the year Baltimore won the Super Bowl over San Francisco. It was all about Joe Flacco didn't do anything for that team. It was all about the defense.
No, Joe Flacco made the plays when he had to.
But
That's
see,
it.
but why will
But
you
why do you think
discredit?
they won?
Why do you discredit
Well,
Terry Bradshaw?
why did they win that Super Bowl? What was the last game they used? What was the last play of that fucking Super Bowl?
I don't remember the last.
You don't
play of the
fucking
game.
remember, do you? I do.
Well, what was it?
What was it? Them fucking not converting on a 4th down for them to win the fucking game. And Ray Lewis was in on that play, and there was a defensive back in on that play that slapped the ball away from, who was it, Michael Crabtree?
That's what you get for trying me with a sorry-ass receiver like
Am I correct
Crabtree.
on that or no?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
It
it
was.
just doesn't make
Jesus
sense.
Christ, the old guy
Doesn't make
does,
sense.
does remember something.
Doesn't make sense how we discredit a quarterback.
I'm not
just
trying to
'cause they have a
discredit
good
him.
defense.
I'm
That's
telling
what
you
you're
he's
doing.
a fucking average quarterback.
Yes, but
That's
then you
all
come
I'm
in.
saying.
But you come
He's
in
average.
and you say Terry Bradshaw ain't shit. He's
Terry
got 4
Bradshaw
Super
was
Bowls
a
in the Hall of
below
Fame.
average quarterback that is in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know how the fuck he's in there. How about that?
Because he has 4 fucking Super Bowl wins.
That's why he's in there.
yes.
That's why he's in there.
I mean,
He would not be in there by his numbers. Matt Stafford has better numbers than him.
and Matt Stafford will probably end up in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
With 1 ring.
Probably with 1 ring that was bought and paid for.
So just to be clear, again, I'm already sick of talking
Yeah,
about this
I'm
until
ready to
until
move on.
Friday.
College football.
I just have
Let's
one-
talk about how fucking Michigan's dominating.
Real quick. There's nothing Brock Purdy can do to make you change his mind on his effectiveness.
If they
as a
go
quarterback.
17-0,
When I see Brock Purdy will his team to win, and it be on his shoulders, I'll give him all the fucking credit he deserves.
So if they go 17-0 and win a Super
I
Bowl
don't-
in blowout fashion, you don't give a shit.
I just said, when I watch him put the team on his back and make the throws to win a game, he'll get my fucking respect.
It'll
period.
never happen.
Yeah.
He's never going to do it.
Sorry?
He's got to do that to get MVP, in my opinion. But other than that,
He's
In
never.
your opinion?
Less
That means to me about as much as fucking Leon's opinion. Okay?
Okay.
I just
Let's move on.
Boy, our
But
little fucking, there's a lot of shit being said on the online thing there.
Oh, yeah.
other than cousin Steven, it's all against you. I'm not gonna lie.
It's all against me. I don't care, dude. It's the world against me. The world against Detroit.
Cousin Steven has your back.
Us against everybody.
A lot of Jimmy Garoppolo held them back comments.
Shout out to George. Shout out to Anthony
Yeah.
Randazzo. No relation to Sam.
Garoppolo.
And everybody does admire your passion.
Listen, everybody wishes they were as good looking as Jimmy Garoppolo.
That is true.
I'll tell you
I'll
that
give
much.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Because if I was Jimmy Garoppolo, I'd be fucking rolling 6 deep.
Yeah, porn stars though. He chooses.
I
porn
wouldn't give a
stars.
fuck. You'd be jealous, believe me.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you're not into Michigan football. Tell me why. Tell me why they're not
I didn't say
dominating.
anything. All I said was, let's go.
No,
Talk
you
about
said
Michigan
Michigan.
football.
Your
You said-
stat quote
He's a
was,
State fan.
"Oh, Michigan football is dominating."
Well, it is what it is. I don't believe they played anybody yet, but
They haven't.
that's my fucking opinion.
They haven't. But when
yeah.
did Georgia
Just
last
like every year.
When did Georgia last year or Alabama the year before?
Georgia
or-
looked pretty good against an undefeated Kentucky team this week. That
Kentucky is not good every year.
I beg to differ that.
Every
You put them against any team in the Big Ten, and I bet you they would fucking give them hell to pay. Period.
So who do you think has a harder schedule? Georgia playing Kentucky and Tennessee, or Michigan playing Penn State and Penn State and Ohio State?
Don't put Ohio State in there. Don't even do that.
Well, that's who Michigan's.
Don't
to.
even.
I just gave
Don't
you.
even do it because I can give you fucking 3 teams out of the SEC that will fucking smack Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which 3?
Alabama,
Okay.
Georgia,
Okay.
and whatever else one you want to put in there.
You think they'd smack Michigan? What,
Oh yeah.
1, 2,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then unknown?
Oh yeah.
You really think that?
Even Alabama with a fucking quarterback that doesn't even know what he's doing.
The worst
smack
Alabama team
Michigan.
of the last 10 years
Yeah.
that's going to lose 2 more games before their season's over? You think that? You honestly think that's the case?
I don't know about 2 more games. I don't know about that. It all depends. They still have to play Georgia yet. They haven't.
If they play Georgia
And
in
I
the
think they're gonna
championship
lose.
game, they got to play LSU.
They've lost 2 so far.
They got to play LSU. I think they got to play Tennessee, and I think they play Ole Miss. I don't think they play Georgia, and it wouldn't be till the championship.
So going forward, Alabama plays Arkansas, Tennessee,
No.
LSU,
Okay.
Kentucky.
LSU will smack Michigan.
LSU has 2 losses,
I don't give a shit.
and
They'll
they
smack Michigan.
play no
Why?
defense.
Chattanooga.
By the time we're down by the end of the season here, then we'll have this conversation
Auburn.
when the playoffs start.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
So
fair.
Michigan played a weak
Because
schedule.
every year, correct me if I'm wrong here. Every year, when the Big Ten goes into the bowl series, they fucking shit the bed. They shit the bed. They fucking lose about every fucking bowl game that every team plays in. I don't care if it's Purdue, Wisconsin, fucking Iowa, name them all. They fucking have the worst bowl record in the past 10 years out of any conference.
Okay.
There you go. Here's something for you guys to analytics. All you analytics fucks, go ahead and look it all up out there. Go ahead, look it up.
No.
Look at the bowl records for the Big Ten in the past fucking 5 years. To only go 5 years.
Okay.
What?
You good?
Yeah, I'm fucking great. What do you
red
mean?
hot.
Think I'm wrong? You think I'm wrong? Look it up. Look it up.
Nobody's
Go ahead. Look it up. Garbage. Absolute fucking garbage. Trash.
Going forward, Alabama plays Arkansas, Tennessee,
Okay.
LSU,
Okay.
Kentucky,
Okay.
Chattanooga,
Okay.
and Auburn.
All right. Auburn will give him a game. Believe it or not. With, what's his name? Little kid from Michigan State. He's over there fucking quarterbacking. The fuck was his name? Peyton Thorne, whatever his name is.
Peyton Thorne.
Yeah. There you go. They'll give him a game.
You think Auburn's going to give Alabama a good game? You said?
Probably. They usually do.
I think Alabama is good for 1, maybe 2 more losses. And here's the kicker. They could still play in their conference championship game even with the 2
they
losses.
could. That's the difference. This is what I'm talking
Well,
about.
here, you just proved my point. Georgia
What?
doesn't play anybody either. Georgia's in-conference schedule, you just said they just beat a really good Kentucky team. It does not compare to what Michigan has to do the last 3
you
weeks
need
of
to
the year.
stop, dude, with the Michigan thing.
It
already,
doesn't.
dude. You know what Michigan is? How many championships have they won? They haven't won a fucking championship since before you were born.
I was born in 97.
No, an actual championship. That was a co-championship.
It wasn't a co-champion.
Yes, it was.
It was.
Because they were co-champions with Nebraska.
Can I tell you what
I
happened?
remember. I know. Believe me.
So you know how that went? And don't cut me off, because
Go ahead.
if you want to bring it
Go
up,
ahead.
we could do this right
Go
now.
ahead. It's right here.
The coaches poll, the
Correct.
coaches who all voted against Michigan sabotaged. It was Ohio State. It was Nebraska.
So
Michigan,
you're telling me it's a
Michigan
conspiracy?
didn't. It was just the coaches poll. They won every single other poll. The AP, every single other championship they won. The only one that had it was the coaches poll, because the coaches have bias and voted against Michigan. That's all it is. Tell me who was on that Nebraska team in '97.
In 97.
97. That's the team. That's the year. 97 Nebraska.
I don't know, dude.
Exactly.
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Exactly. Okay. Well,
They had some good players, though, that wound up in the NFL.
Okay.
I do know that.
not compared to Michigan. Michigan put 2 Hall of
please,
Famers.
dude. Outside
Tom Brady, Charles
outside
Woodson,
Charles fucking Woodson.
Tom Brady,
They had garbage.
Tom Brady,
Hello.
Tom Brady, Charles
yeah, whatever.
Woodson.
Nobody even knew what Tom Brady was.
Brian
He got
Griese?
lucky. He fell into the spot.
Brian Griese had a way longer career in the pros than what's his face from Nebraska, the guy that they just fired, Scott Frost, who was the quarterback of that
Okay.
'97 Nebraska team.
Okay.
Um,
It was co-national champions.
it was on
They
paper.
haven't won a national championship since before you were
No,
born.
they won a national championship in '97. It goes
That
in
was
as a
a
national championship.
co-national championship.
It was
They
a
haven't
national-
won an actual championship. Look it up. Look in your little analytics. It'll tell you they were
That's
co-national
fine.
champions.
That's fine. It's still a national championship.
Anyway,
It's still a
I
national
don't
championship.
believe splitting
Are you
anything with
are you
anybody
taking
is-
away
is
fucking
good.
USC and LSU's co-national championship from 2003, because those were
don't
2
care.
pretty damn good teams.
I don't care. You put those 2 teams on the field, who would win?
I think USC would win, but again,
Yeah.
there was polling bias that kept them out of a bowl game.
I know which teams are good. When you watch a team, you know which teams
That
are
USC team had one of the best defenses of all time and 2
Okay.
Heisman winners.
elite. Okay.
They were good,
Okay.
and
didn't
they got
see-
robbed
I didn't
because
see
of.
Miami splitting
It's the
national
reason we
championships
switched
with
over
guys.
from the computers. It's the whole reason that happened.
Okay.
It's for that reason, because there's bias
a
in coaches
co-national
poll.
championship is bullshit.
It's not.
That's why you have championship games now. That's
Yeah.
exactly why. Because of your point exactly. Michigan hasn't won a national championship
since
since
1997.
before you were born.
Since 1997.
Jesus Christ. I'm talking a championship.
That is in 1997. They won a
regular
championship.
championship to where
They went
everybody
undefeated.
said, you're the champion.
They went undefeated.
You're
played,
not a co-champion.
played the
a
harder
champion.
schedule compared to the other undefeated team, and went on to win the Rose
Whatever.
Bowl, and they
Michigan
had the
doesn't
Heisman
play
Trophy
anybody.
winner.
I don't want to hear about schedules. Michigan plays nothing.
Let's talk about next year, where they have
of the
Fresno
year.
State, and they have Texas, and they have
We'll
USC, and they have
Oregon.
Oregon, and they have Ohio State.
Okay,
We'll
Talk
see
about
how
next
good
year.
let's see how good they do next year
but-
with no running backs, maybe no quarterback, and everybody else.
Okay, but now staying at the task at hand and not talking about 97, all right?
Okay.
The 2 biggest games on their schedule are obviously at Penn State.
Okay. Are we going to talk about what I said about the bowl record of fucking the Big Ten?
No,
Hey, all these big games.
We're
these
talking
bowl
about this
games,
year.
which are basically going to be championship games here real quick.
Oh,
Their record is abysmal.
okay. Can we talk about now?
Go ahead.
At Penn State on November 11th.
That's scary.
Why?
It's not. I was being fucking facetious there.
Penn
State's
State's the
the
number
sixth
6 team in the country,
right.
They're overrated.
and they're
They're
also
over fucking rated. Their coach is a joke.
fair. I'll tell you what, they're also top 10 in defensive and offensive efficiency.
Their coach is a joke.
And they have three top 10 picks in their starting lineup at the moment. At least 2.
Their
At
coach
least
is a
2.
joke.
Their coach is a joke. I agree. I actually have that on the rundown here.
Okay.
James Franklin yesterday made a really dumb comment, and then he didn't say the team and tried to backtrack, but he said, on strength of schedule, mind you, Michigan and Penn State are literally neck and neck in strength of schedule over the last 2 years.
Yeah,
And on top of
garbage.
that, Penn State's playing UMass tomorrow. But yesterday he said there's a team in this conference that's buying out a ton of game contracts to go in another direction. When asked if Penn State's approach to non-conference scheduling will change with the arrival of the 12-team college football playoff. That's what he said. Now, he didn't say Michigan explicitly, and Penn State fans are trying to twist and say, oh, he's talking about Indiana who bought out Louisville. And Michigan had to buy out Washington because of the pandemic. Now they're playing Washington starting next year. Okay, but on top of that, Michigan had a 2-year lull where they had issues with the pandemic and they had to buy some teams out based on the schedule. But before that, they were playing Notre Dame. They had a home-and-home schedule with Texas that they had to move. It starts next year. Home-and-home with Arkansas. Home-and-home with Washington. Before that, Michigan was playing a lot of teams. Penn State has played no one in the last 5 years.
Does any of those games you just mentioned even fucking scare you?
Yeah, you're talking about the teams.
Arkansas?
Wait, who are we talking about? Penn State?
Yeah.
I mean, doing a home and home in the SEC, yeah. They had to go to Auburn last year to start the year, which I think it's kind of scary.
I give them that. I'll give them that.
And they won, too.
Yeah.
I think that's impressive.
Yeah. I want to see them go down to Athens and play Georgia. That's what I want to see. That's what I want.
Georgia and Alabama almost never, ever schedule.
Get them on the fucking phone and schedule
That's the whole
them.
point. You're comparing.
And when they back out, then you can fucking print it on black and white.
You're comparing the SECs, especially the SEC East, where Georgia, like either Florida's good and Georgia
I'm
isn't,
gonna be
or
honest with
Georgia's
you,
good and
dude.
Florida isn't.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think if Jim Harbaugh went and put Ole Miss or Mississippi State on their fucking schedule in them first 4 games of the year, those teams would be glad to come up
They're
here.
playing Texas and they're playing Oklahoma for the next 2 years. Texas was the number 3 team in the country.
Texas game?
Okay,
Did you just watch it?
Yeah, fair. The team that they
Oklahoma.
lost to, Oklahoma,
Correct.
they're on Michigan's schedule too in a home and home in the next 5 years. Michigan goes
that's fine.
They go to Austin and they go to Norman in the next 5 years.
That's great. That's great.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
It's about fucking time.
It's not an
That's all I'm
about
gonna
fucking
say.
time thing. They've
Yeah,
scheduled
it is
our
about
teams.
fucking time.
Do you think Notre Dame's tough?
What basically kept them out of the rankings fucking 2 years ago? Because of their non-conference fucking schedule was trash.
2 years ago, they went 3-6 and threw their seat, or they went 3 and something during the pandemic, and they didn't have enough guys to field a roster because they weren't passing.
All right, I'm sorry, I went too far back. 2 years ago.
They made the college football playoff 2 years
Correct.
ago.
What'd they do?
They lost, but they got
I'm
blown
sorry.
out by the
I'm
eventual.
going to go back a little farther. Go back about 8 years ago.
You're the biggest.
Okay?
You're the biggest.
We're
Eagles
talking
fan.
about college football championship games. Okay?
They never didn't
Michigan
get in.
State qualified.
Mm-hmm.
They won the Big Ten.
Yep.
They went in there, and what happened?
Michigan State got blown out. But that doesn't mean that Michigan State team was bad. That Michigan State team wasn't still impressive that year. And they were more impressive the year before.
Correct. I agree.
In fact, Michigan State does an excellent job of scheduling teams, and that's why they had the success. People want to play Michigan State.
Now they do.
The gist is we keep diverting. You can't compare, especially going forward.
All I'm saying is real simple. I'm going to give it to you real simple. The SEC has better teams than the Big Ten, period.
Top to bottom?
Top to bottom.
Top to bottom, yes.
Top to
but
bottom.
the top half of the Big Ten currently.
There's only 3 teams in the Big Ten that are relevant.
It's three
that
is
are
enough.
relevant right now.
Three is enough. They have 3 in the top 10. The SEC has 1. It's Georgia. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And then on top of that, the other 3 of the other top 10 teams in the country, Oregon, Washington, USC, guess what conference they're playing in next year?
Right, exactly.
They're coming to the Big Ten.
So guess what? Their little cakewalk that's been going on here in this conference isn't going to fucking happen anymore.
It wasn't as much of a cakewalk as you think.
Yeah, it was.
And on top of that,
You're
can't,
playing fucking Illinois.
You literally keep cutting me off, and you won't let me finish.
ahead.
Georgia and Alabama, who have won the national championship the last 3 years, Alabama perennial powerhouse, and Georgia that's won the last 2, they play no one in their non-conference.
Because their conference is tougher than everybody else's fucking schedule.
The top half of their conference, especially for Georgia, that doesn't always have to play LSU every year. Georgia's toughest games, if they're lucky, are Tennessee and Florida. And when Georgia was down, Florida was doing the same thing. And then all the SEC East was the right to get curb stomped by Alabama, Auburn, or LSU. That's what it was for about a decade and a half. Because their schedules were not that good. The one half of the conferences, it's similar to the Big Ten in that regard.
Correct.
Okay, but unless 2 teams are good in the SEC, or 3, unless it's somehow LSU, Alabama, and then Georgia, that's
Okay.
the only time the top half compares. I agree. The bottom-
Outside the couple of years that Clemson won it, okay? Outside that, who's won the fucking national championships the past?
Alabama, and they do it with a cake schedule. They play
Georgia,
they play
Alabama,
a neutral
who
site.
else?
They play a neutral site game against a mid-tier team every year, and
Yeah.
that's it. They won't. They
Okay.
schedule FCS schools. They schedule Tennessee, Chattanooga, and the Citadel.
Citadel. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that. But what I'm saying is, I get that part, what you're saying. Ohio State or fucking Penn State plays every year.
But Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State have to play each other no matter what.
Exactly.
No matter what. And
You know
Michigan
what? I
survived
watched-
that gauntlet
I was
the
there
last
when
2
Ohio
years.
State went in there and smacked fucking Alabama. I remember that with Ezekiel Elliott. You know,
The
they
Sugar
weren't
Bowl.
prepared for that.
No,
I remember that.
no.
But outside that fucking game, when has the Big Ten done anything like that?
No, they
haven't.
I don't disagree.
They
I don't
haven't.
disagree. They choked another national championship game. They both choked last
Shout out
year.
to Urban Meyer.
They both choked last year, but I'm just saying the gist is it all comes back to James Franklin saying that they schedule cake schedules, and he's scheduling cake teams. That's the whole point.
I will say Penn State's schedule's pathetic. Pathetic.
And I'm not saying Michigan's is much better, but
I don't
Michigan's
think
got to
Penn
go
State has been relevant since the 90s. That's my
They were
opinion.
kind of close for a year.
they were spitting distance.
That's it.
Yeah, they made the playoff.
They haven't been relevant since Joe Pa was there. Okay?
And we saw
Let's
how
be
that
honest.
ended.
All right, listen.
Joe Paterno. That's who I'm talking about.
we'll
the guy
pivot-
that disgraced.
We'll pivot to
that
something that
school
makes you happy.
disgraced.
We'll pivot.
Yeah.
And I want to keep this brief.
He brought it up.
Does Michigan State have a shot at Urban Meyer, do you think?
No.
Why?
Just because I don't think they have the funding that they're going to need to bring him in.
See, I disagree. I think that's the one reason they would have a shot.
him.
I think
Yep.
that's the
They
one
don't.
reason they might be able to
They don't.
have him.
Listen,
Because they're not even done with their lawsuit yet.
that
Okay.
doesn't matter.
It's going to matter. Going to matter
No,
when
it's
they have to
not.
fork over fucking $60 million.
Guess what?
Going to matter then.
This is the thing. That's $60 million for Michigan State. I disagree with you on the money thing too.
Okay.
That's a drop in the hat.
Then get the guy his fucking money and send him on his way. What are we going to sit here? Then settle out of court and get rid of it.
Because
What are we
60
talking-
million,
What are we
talking
playing
about?
fucking
fucking
games
80
for?
million or
We're not
whatever it
talking
is.
about it.
80 million for an unfinished job is different than we're going to pay a coach 15 million a year to revive our program. Those are two
Right.
different things.
No, I understand.
I don't think they have. That's why they're going to court. And they fired
Well,
the guy for
here's
cause.
the thing. With Urban Meyer's track record,
Do you think
do you
it's a
think
good
the
idea?
holier than thou at Michigan State is going to even talk to him about bringing him in
That's a
with
great
his
question.
track record
That's a great
of
question.
finger banging co-eds?
That's a very good question.
Yes, I do think.
So here's the
I don't
thing.
think so.
Here's the thing. I don't think the administration would do that. I don't.
Yeah.
You know who I think would do that? If you take all of the best
University
alums,
of Michigan would do that.
if you take all of the best alums and the people who donate the most money and you rally them, getting Harbaugh to come to Michigan was not easy. There's a book written about it. Okay, it wasn't easy at all. They had to rally every major booster, all of the major athletes that played there, all of the major alums. They had to rally them for basically 2 years.
I don't know why.
Well, I mean, it's showing now.
Showing what?
It's showing now.
Fucking 10 years in?
He's got 2 Big Ten championships. Yeah, it's 8 years, and on top of that, he gets asked by the fucking pros to come back every year. He takes an interview or at least entertains a pro job every single year. He didn't get fired from the San Francisco 49ers. He left it for Michigan. Okay, it's a similar situation with Urban Meyer. It would take.
His time at San Francisco, I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember him going to a Super Bowl. And I remember him only having winning
he
records.
burnt his fucking bridge there.
Yeah, and then
They had enough of
the
him.
guy that he burnt the bridge with, Trent Baalke, got fired, and Jim Harbaugh took a nice stab at him yesterday because he's the one that took Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson last year, which was a dumb decision. Aiden Hutchinson, a Harbaugh coached
stop,
kid.
Aiden Hutchinson.
He's literally a Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
We really going here right now.
You
dude.
mentioned it on Monday, how he stood out.
What? What did I mention on Monday?
How good Aiden Hutchinson has been. You've
I
said
said
it
he's
every
played
week.
better than I thought he would.
Aiden Hutchinson's
That's what I
literally
said
one of the
about him.
highest graded.
Oh God, I don't care
PFF
about his
lineman
grade,
rankings.
dude. I watch him play. I know what players.
Yeah, and he's
I know
fucking
what players
incredible.
should be
He
doing.
leads the league. There's literally no player in NFL history that has had more sacks
we
and
go.
more interceptions to start his career in the D-line.
The game is totally different than what it used to be.
That's fair.
not going
That doesn't mean he's not an
I'm not going
ineffective player, or that he's an effective player, because he is.
Didn't say he wasn't.
You just said Aiden Hutchins. You threw him out the window.
I didn't fucking throw him out the window. I just said he wasn't his. Do I think he deserved to be picked at 2? No. If you're asking me, no.
Okay.
My pick was Kayvon Thibodeau.
And who's been better between the two of them?
What do you mean?
Who's been better between Thibodeau and Aiden
I
Hutchinson?
don't know.
The answer is Aiden Hutchinson has
You
the
gonna tell me
attention
about
of the league.
his little 4
right now.
interceptions.
That is
Fucking
the
throwing
clear
into?
answer is Aiden
Just
Hutchinson.
for the record,
Yeah.
right now, PFF
Whatever.
has Aiden
Pussy
Hutchinson.
fart, fuck.
Has Aiden Hutchinson at 4 between TJ Watt and Max Crosby.
Okay. There you go.
In his second
There you
year.
go. Yeah.
In his second year in the league. In his
Okay.
we're not even halfway through this.
I remember when J.J. Watt come into the league, he had fucking, what was it, 18? His first year?
Okay, so you don't think Urban Meyer, you don't think Michigan State has a shot at
I
him
don't
because
think
of.
I don't think they do. I don't think they have a legitimate shot at him. I don't even think he thinks about a team like Michigan State.
I was going to say, so I think Michigan State has a shot, but I don't think Urban Meyer would ultimately.
I don't think he's interested because he knows that, number one, their team is decimated as far as recruits.
It'd be a
go.
lot of work.
He
It
turned,
would
he
be
turned Ohio
so
State
much-
around. He had Ohio State undefeated his first year, and on top of that, now the difference between then and now is he's got the transfer portal now too. So I know what you're saying, and I would, if this was 3 years ago and we were saying they're decimated and they have no talent, I would totally agree with you.
If Deion Sanders can't do it, he won't be able to.
Deion
do
Sanders did some decent work. Like it takes a year or two to get
it.
the
He
transfer
turned
portal
50
right.
players over in one off.
Exactly, and that's different. I don't
Yeah.
think Urban would be turning 50 players over. He'd be turning a lot over, of course, but there's also people that would come in. I think the draw to go play for Urban Meyer at Michigan State is bigger in year 1 than Deion Sanders had to go to play in Colorado. Year 2, Deion Sanders is going to get a lot of
I'm going
transfers.
to tell you right now, if Urban Meyer was to sign at Michigan State, Jim Harbaugh would be on a bus on his way out the fucking door. He don't want no part of Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer owns him. He's Urban Meyer's bitch.
Urban Meyer has owned everywhere he's gone, and then he's just left it in shambles afterward.
That's
Of course, that's what he
Florida.
does. He's just like Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
You think I'm
very-
lying?
No, you're dead on.
I'm
That's a
fucking
great
lying?
comparison.
Just like Pete Carroll.
What did Pete Carroll leave in shambles?
I
USC?
don't know,
Yeah.
USC.
USC just
That was in a
missed their,
shambles for
they just
15
missed their
years after he
coaching
left.
hires. I mean, they got in trouble. They got bowl bans and scholarship fines because Reggie Bush accepted a microwave and had to give his Heisman back. That had nothing to do with Pete Carroll. He just left for the pros.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Hey, you think that's all he did?
What do you think he did?
What do you think?
Fuck the administration, fuck all the wives, and
What do you think he was doing?
do hash?
No, what do
in
you
between
think
practices?
he was doing? What do you
He
think he was
pillaged.
doing?
No, I'm asking
He
you.
left that school in a shambles when he bolted to fucking Seattle.
I mean, they've
He
had
left them in a shambles.
USC throws money at every coach, and it hasn't
No
stuck.
different than
He left
Urban
them in
Meyer left
shambles.
Florida in shambles when he left Florida. Same difference.
Well, yeah, Urban torches everything to the ground. I don't think Carroll did anything specifically other than just leaving. He just left for the pros. He was a pro guy. He was the Patriots coach in the 2000s, in the early 2000s.
Awful.
He was just a pro guy. So he was going back to the pros. It's the same reason why, I mean, Michigan fans will call me wrong right now, but I think Jim Harbaugh,
You think Reggie Bush was the only reason why they subjected themselves to all these scholarships that were taken away?
yeah, but now listen, you're saying he left it in shambles. Now these kids get paid. They get paid literal money. So the same thing that they lost scholarships for and had a postseason ban for, these kids are getting
That was
paid.
the fucking rules, Mike. That was the rules that
They're-
he was breaking.
They're bullshit
That
rules,
all
and
those
that
guys
wasn't
break.
that wasn't him. Those are boosters that were doing
Oh,
that.
come on.
That wasn't him paying
Come on.
players.
You
I'm
don't
just
think
telling
he had
you.
his hands in that?
I'm just telling
Think
you.
This guy's fucking innocent.
I'm sure he
Nah.
knew. I'm sure he knew,
Nah.
but he's not saying you pay this guy, you pay this guy. That's not how it is. And either way, it's a
God.
it's a
Don't be
bullshit
naive.
argument because it's not even a rule anymore. They were in
It's not a rule
shambles.
anymore. Guess what? College football, let's be honest right now. Let's get it all out in the open. It's a giant clusterfuck right now.
I don't
This
like the
NIL
direction.
bullshit, they're going to ruin the fucking sport of college football if they don't bring some structure back to it.
I don't disagree. I don't like the direction college football is
I
going
hate the
in.
direction that it's gone in.
I think it's
And
going to be
and
two super
And it's
conferences.
all these fucking if you're going to do anything that they're doing right now, there needs to be rules, there needs to be structure. Without that, it's a big giant clusterfuck. College football is a joke. It's nowhere near what it used to be. It's an absolute fucking joke now.
We're an hour in, and we're not even halfway through the college talk.
Okay.
So we should just move forward. We should pivot back to the pros.
We're going to pivot back to the pros. We're going to jump to 5, and then we're going to jump to 4, and then we're going to jump to 6. So let's jump around real quick. With the news, even though we are a tad of the way in, we're jumping to the news.
Okay.
Justin Jefferson officially hits IR today. They're saying it could be a full 8 weeks out for him. He may miss the rest of the season. Do you think he comes back?
Yes.
Do you think he should come back?
If I was him,
Yeah. If I'm him, I'm taking the year off, baby. If
It depends where they stand.
You know
when
what?
he gets back.
I don't think so. As a player, I don't think he'll do it.
I mean, hypothetically, let's think about that Vikings offense. If he's out 4 games, I don't know.
Well, they got to
Okay.
have some guys step up.
So here's the
Bottom
kicker on
line.
the Vikings is they only have 5 more games against teams with winning records going forward.
Yes.
That's nice.
So they have a very favorable schedule, and they also play the division a ton. I think they play the division 5 more times, including the Lions twice, including the Bears twice, and they have 1 more game against the Pack.
It's reversed.
Regardless,
They play the Bears once and the Packers twice.
regardless,
Right.
they have they beat the Bears. Who
Yeah.
they beat?
They beat Chicago.
They play the
Chicago.
Bears this week.
Okay, so they haven't played Chicago. Regardless, they have a ton of division games in front of them, and there's no better remedy than catching up in the division than winning your division game.
They have not played a divisional game yet.
They haven't played a division, so they have 6 division
Who
games.
hasn't?
Minnesota.
The Vikings. That makes
Oh,
sense.
I thought they did.
Regardless,
Okay.
it depends where they stand at the end of this. When he comes off IR, you know.
I will say they're at Chicago, San Francisco,
Boo.
at Green Bay, at Atlanta, at home against New Orleans, at Denver, at home against Chicago. That could be some W's in there.
A lot of W's.
Right now, I'm saying just because I think the wheels are going to fall off, I don't think he ends up coming back. But that could change. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. The other biggest one of the weekend, Devon A-Chain hits IR today. He will be out at least 4 weeks. If nobody moved on from Raheem Mostert,
I got an offer for him today.
yeah, I heard that you were going to. His stock's got to be way up.
I turned it down.
Supposedly Jeff Wilson is going to practice next week.
Right. That's why I turned it down.
I think the Vikings will be fine. It's sad because I think this is one of the most exciting players in the league
I
that
know.
we just lost, and he was doing some real big damage for the last 3 weeks, and I'm sad we won't get to see that. I hope that they still are able to, and I think they will be
Yeah.
able to work him in when he gets back.
See, I thought the exact same thing about how much Mostert's stock was going to be up until I saw the Jeff Wilson news. I think no matter what happens there, it's going to be a two-headed monster going
Correct.
forward.
I agree.
No matter who's there, whether
He's
Jeff
still going to get
Wilson
his
and Mostert,
Listen, Mostert's still going to get his touch.
absolutely, but it's not
So-
going to be. You're not going to get 40-point games out
Is
of
he
it.
going to rip off 75 yards runs? Who knows? We'll see.
Anthony Richardson, quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, he will miss the next 4 weeks as well. So that's Gardner Minshew taking the start there.
He might as well go the rest of the year.
I would just like to say, we called it. We called that one.
What?
We called that Anthony
Oh,
Richardson.
you're going to give me a little credit now? Is that what you're doing?
We would take co-credit on that one.
I give you credit all the time.
What?
You two both said it.
I made the call. I told you this guy wouldn't last fucking
He can't last. I didn't think he would last the year. You didn't think he would last.
And that wasn't a big hit that he took either.
Yeah, that was the thing
No.
about it. It really wasn't.
That's the scary thing about it.
Yeah, it really is.
In fairness, people thought Stafford was made of glass his first 2 years because he had a bad shoulder injury similar, and then I think he tore his ACL a second. He did something his second year that caused a problem, and people thought the same thing about Stafford, and that didn't end up being the case. So sometimes these guys break early on. The game's a lot faster. It's bigger. It's stronger. I don't think this is any indictment on Anthony Richardson, but
That's kind of the learning how to be a pro.
yeah.
You got to learn when to slide. You got to learn
Yeah.
when not to.
You got to
take those
learn
unnecessary
when
hits.
to run out of bounds,
Yeah.
when to slide.
And that's an art form in itself.
This one kind of surprised me. James Conner hitting IR today. He's having himself a nice little year for Arizona, kind of a catalyst for that offense. That's kind of a big one because Arizona hasn't looked bad. And if you take him out of that offense, I think that they're going to be missing a real big piece there. So
I agree.
that one is a little disheartening. Austin Eckler says he's going to be back this week. He is 99% sure. So that is huge for the Chargers offense. Honest to God, I've missed watching Austin Eckler play. I really have.
He's fun, and he cares about his fantasy.
They need him bad.
Teams too, which I love.
Chargers need him bad.
They need him really
If
bad.
Brandon Staley's to keep his job, he better hope to God Eckler doesn't get hurt the rest of the way.
I'm curious what that changes for them. Obviously it should be a good change, but like their coach is still the problem. Their coach is the one that chokes the game.
I agree.
So I'm curious what that changes, but it'll be good to see him back.
So the Chargers, the next 2 games, they play at home against Dallas on Monday night, and then the following week go to Arrowhead.
I would love to see them punch fucking Mike McCarthy right in the asshole next week.
Do you think they will?
I hope so.
See,
I'm going to take them.
I don't think that one's gonna.
Dallas, if they're a good team, will have a bone to pick.
Dallas got
going
embarrassed
forward.
last week.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna want to come out strong.
This is perfect. This is perfect
And
for them.
other than
If they
the,
lose this game, Mike McCarthy should be the first coach fired in the NFL.
and other than the Broncos, every team that's been, and honestly, they put up a decent fight the week after they got embarrassed. But other than the Broncos, all the teams that have gotten embarrassed have come back and. Oh no, the Broncos won the week after. So all the teams that have come a week after embarrassment have come out hot. So look for Dallas to be hot.
Yeah, but
the
I
next
just
few
don't.
weeks.
I don't
think
know
they're
if
good, that's fine.
Dak Prescott could take off the shookness that he faced last week.
Fair.
Daniel Jones has some sort of neck injury. It looks like he is going to miss time. He has not practiced this week, and neither has Darren Waller with a groin injury.
They initially expected Daniel Jones to be back. He's day-to-day right now, but if it's Wednesday and you haven't practiced, that's not a great start.
That,
Get ready to throw the dirt on them.
I mean, I think that's going to be 32 out of 32 right there. Deshaun Watson is still not practicing. The Browns are going to go with P.J. Walker this week.
Yeah, I guess DTR
If I
wasn't
was
great.
the Browns, I would go with P.J. Walker the rest of the year. and I don't know what else to do with that contract he has, but I would literally try to trade him.
He's untradeable. There's not a team in the league that would take the contract down.
I don't know.
I have a question
I
for
don't
you.
agree with that. I think if he agreed to restructure, it would happen.
The guys never restructure, too.
Yeah.
They never do that. I have a question for you. You said if you were the Browns, you would get rid of him. If you were a Browns fan, would you bark in the dog pound?
No. No barking.
Okay.
Still no bark?
Nope.
Not even a little one?
If they
What about
make
a
the
growl?
playoffs,
Not even a fucking little one.
If
bud.
the Browns make the playoffs, I like Bruce's idea. If the Browns make the playoffs, will you bark?
No.
Oh, wow.
if they win the Super Bowl, will you bark?
You just lost us
Yes.
our one dog
if the
pound
Browns
follower.
win the Super
Yes.
Bowl, you will bark.
I will bark.
Van Jefferson was traded today to the Atlanta Falcons with draft consideration. And the Jets have come out and said they're trying to trade Mecole Hardman. Obviously, Van Jefferson's opportunity in that Rams team closed up pretty quick with the emergence of Puka and Tutu and Cooper Kupp coming back. Do we like Van Jefferson on the Falcons?
I think that's kind of neat. I'm curious to see where it goes. If he gets half the production that he put up in that good year in LA 2 years ago, if he comes remotely close to that, he should open up their offense at least a little bit. And again, Atlanta's still, they slightly intrigue
Irrelevant.
me. They slightly intrigue me. And everyone in that division is going to be in it. They're currently in it until they're not.
I think it makes him better.
Hey,
Yeah,
I really do.
agreed.
I mean, who's your number one receiver there?
you want to know what's cute? You've
Drake
read my
London.
mind.
Drake London.
Drake London.
Supposedly. Number one receiver.
Uh-huh.
Tell me that Van Jefferson being able to stretch the field is not going to help that.
Well,
It's going to help him.
you read my mind, literally. Their receiving core right now is Drake London.
Not Mac Hollins.
I love me some Mac Hollins. I'm
You need
sorry.
to fucking stop right
I
now.
love
That-
me
that
some Mac
shit
Hollins.
is creepy as hell.
Cordell Patterson's
Great looking dude.
healthy now.
Cordero Patterson is officially
running
off the
back.
injury report. Yes, but Van
Running back.
Jefferson is the 3. Do you know who the 4 is? In
No, I
Atlanta?
don't.
Scotty Miller.
Oh, God.
Scotty Miller. Might be Miller time. You never know.
No, No, I think Jefferson will win the 3 job there real quick and get acclimated. He'll probably be number 2.
So I don't know if we remember, but after last week's game where they got blown out, Bill Belichick came out and said that they were, quote unquote, starting over.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
And yeah, he was pushed on the question. He said, well, what does starting over mean? He said, we're starting over. So there's a lot of talk this week that, okay, are we going to get the Zap show going forward? Are we going to see more Zeke Elliott? What's going to happen? Well, Bill Belichick came out today and they asked if Mac Jones was going to start this weekend, and his exact quote was, quote unquote, we're not changing anything.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I will say this. I was going through because I obviously, even though I'm a bandwagon fan and I turned my back on the Patriots, I still follow a lot of New England Twitterdom.
Oh, God.
Do you think there's a situation where Bill Belichick went into Robert Kraft's office and he said, hey, look, we're going to move on from Mac Jones. This is the end of the fucking road. We're going to go Bailey Zappi. We need to start trying to move on from some of these big dollar assets. And Robert Kraft looked at him and said, hey, Bill, fuck you.
Possible.
There was a lot of rhetoric.
I don't think
like
that's
that.
true, because I think if that's true, at this stage in Bill's career, I think he would just be done with it.
I think he's going to be allowed to stay to take another crack at it.
Yeah.
It's a matter of how long does Bob Kraft wait to see if Bill Belichick is serviceable at taking that crack at it, at taking a crack at a rebuild. It's a matter of how patient does Bob Kraft want to be. Now, in my opinion, that guy should have all the patience in the world.
Absolutely.
Because that's a franchise that doesn't owe anybody anything.
Right.
And honestly, they've won more Super Bowls than most teams are ever going to win.
Yeah.
So I would let
They've
your
lost
guy
more
ride
Super
it out.
Bowls than most teams will ever
Here we
go to.
I would let that guy ride it out.
You think I'm wrong? They've lost more Super Bowls than some teams will ever go to.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But they've also won more than every team.
They've won more
than
than any
Steelers.
team's going to win.
So neither of you really think that Belichick's in a hot seat situation.
No, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't. That doesn't mean that a change couldn't help. But their problem isn't Belichick, and I know you're gonna hop on my fucking face right now. They have no talent. This is one of the most talent depleted rosters I've ever seen.
He's getting red again.
Yeah,
He's getting red again.
I just don't think they're talented, and I think that
I
want to see if
agree with
Belichick. I want to see if Belichick can reinvent the wheel.
They have some talent. They have
some talent, mostly on defense.
Talent at the skill positions is where they're hurting.
That matters. I think on defense. I think on defense is where they got some good skill.
I believe that they have some nice young talent in their defensive line. Barrymore, I really like him.
I would for the Lions. I would like if there's some sort of sell situation. Like one of the first guys that comes to mind to me is Josh Uche, who went to Michigan, and he's been extreme. He gets better every year, and he's become their best pass rusher, especially with Judon out. And I would love to take a crack at him, but the rumor has it that's a guy that they want to build around, and that's a guy that they're not going to move on from. But they have guys.
There's only one guy that the Detroit Lions should even be interested in getting, and that's Brian Burns.
I don't think they can.
Brian Burns. He's done. After this year, he's gone.
I don't think they can afford
If they can't re-sign him, he's done. He's gone.
The problem with Brian Burns, and this is a great conversation because we're going to get there with Denver, who's about to have a fire sale. Problem with Brian Burns is he's in that echelon of player that costs you so many assets that you can only trade for a guy that you're going to sign. And I don't think the Lions are going to trade for any guys that they're not going to sign.
I got one asset that I think Carolina would be interested in, and I think it could make it go.
Is it a player?
Yes.
Because that's typically not how a trade like that goes. But go ahead. Who's the player? Tell me. Tell me who it is.
Jameis Williams. Give Brock Purdy his college receiver, or
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young, whatever his name is.
He's got Purdy on the mind.
It's Bryce Young, give Bryce Young his college receiver. And let him move forward.
So with all the extensions that are looming, it's just uncharacteristic of this Lions team loves to do it themselves. And the only way I see them as buyers. 100% I see them as buyers. But the only guys...
You don't think that they could get Brian Burns for a player like Jameis?
I don't.
I know he hasn't done nothing at the pro level yet, but I think to have such a young guy with his talent to go there and to reunite with this quarterback, maybe it would be good for him too.
I don't because historically a player isn't on the other end of a deal like that. It's offloading. This guy's not going to sign here. We're going to offload him, and you're going to get as many draft picks as possible. And the Lions don't like giving up. This Lions regime does not like giving up.
I'm just saying, I would love to have Brian Burns here at this point.
What'd you say?
Didn't the Raiders try that with Carr and Adams? Look how that worked.
They didn't trade for Devontae Adams, but your point is not lost.
I'm talking about having a quarterback that played with his wide receiver.
Yeah, the only difference is on that though is Derek Carr hasn't been in fucking college in 10 years,
and
12 years.
Mike.
That's the only difference.
And also Mike McDaniels
know what I mean?
just sucks.
When you got a young
Josh
team that you're trying
Josh
to build
McDaniels,
it.
excuse me.
I'm sorry?
Nothing. It's
We were just talking about how Josh McDaniels sucks.
the Carr Adams connection went to shit because they have the worst head coach in football. That's the only reason why that went away.
I'd say in the top 3. Yeah, as far as worst in football. But I think if you took a young player like Jameis Williams, get him in with a guy that he knows, that he trusts, would probably bring out the best in him, to be honest with you. And what are you getting in return for that? You're getting a young, absolute stud who would fit in great at this defensive line with the number 2 overall pick of 2 years ago.
Agreed, but they're not going to pay, because they have all these other guys to pay. They're not going to pay Brian Burns what he's looking for, which is going to be top 3 edge rusher money, which is what he's worth. He's worth top 3 edge rusher money.
These other teams make it work. I don't know why Detroit can't.
They don't always make it work.
That's bullshit.
They piece
That's
it together.
Bullshit. Howie Roseman makes it work every year.
Howie Roseman's a magician.
I mean, a lot of it's draft capital. A lot of his guys are like, that's not their
Why,
window.
You wouldn't give up a 1 next year for fucking Brian Burns? Knowing you have a proven player already?
I would, but then you have to sign Brian Burns to a massive contract.
Correct.
But you also have to sign Aiden Hutchinson to a massive contract.
Listen,
you have to sign Penei
you gave
Sewell.
Romeo Aquara $18 million fucking dollars, dude.
I know, but you
for
still
a guy who was hurt for 2 years.
You got to work in all of these draft picks. You got to work in Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got to work in Sewell. You got to work in Hutchinson. You got to work in
Hutchinson ain't for a couple more years.
And Goff,
dude.
Goff
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Hutchinson will get his extension next year. It's the 3 to 4 year windows when they get the extension.
They have a 5-year option on him.
But they sign the extension before that. Typically.
Well,
like Joe Burrow is technically still on his rookie contract.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now we live in a world where these running backs and a lot of these guys just don't play until they get their extension. Correct. So that's a scenario that they got to worry about, and that's why they need to be cap flexible. And Brian Burns doesn't make them cap flexible.
I want to give a shout out to Tony Toots in the comments. He says Josh McAnderthal is a fraud.
Shout out to Tony. Shout out to Toots.
Shout out to Tony Toots. So the Broncos came out today and said that, they didn't come out and say, but most people around the league believe that the Broncos are essentially in a fire sale situation and are willing to listen to trade offers for pretty much everybody that isn't named Pat Surtain, including wide receivers Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Frank Clark, Alex Singleton, and Josie Jules.
God, Frank Clark would fit in here really well.
Yeah, he would.
Ugh. And honestly, Cortland Sutton, pending the price, I think the Lions I don't think they need a receiver like I thought they did. Cortland Sutton fit that bill
I would take
perfectly.
Jeudy over him.
I wouldn't, but I understand why you're saying that. Regardless, the key guy is Pat Surtain, and it's the same thing as Brian Burns. It's a guy you build around. You don't trade a guy who makes the Pro Bowl and is an All-Pro.
Yeah, but then you're on the hook to pay him.
Yeah, you got to pay him, but that's an all-world.
What's the difference?
That's a position that they can afford to pay as corner because they don't have their answer in the future for corner.
They want to trade everybody
They're not trading Surtain because
because
Surtain was literally All-Pro in his second year. You don't trade a guy
Sutton,
like that.
I don't want him. I think his best years are behind him.
They're just the Broncos receivers. I mean, I don't know if it was just due to bad quarterback
Jerry
play
Jeudy is not. He's a young guy. He's not a.
Yeah, but none of them ever really.
I haven't seen one thing from Jerry Jeudy. I haven't seen him do one thing.
All right. Well, I mean, Jerry Judy's had a combination of.
I know. See,
Russell
that's the
Wilson.
You just don't know.
Who else?
Yeah, if you're implying that it's early, you're right. It is early to get
young guy that's if you bring him into the right situation, I think he would absolutely tear it up here. He'd be a great guy outside Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Randy Gregory would have been nice.
Then you could do your Jameis Williams, shit for Brian Burns, and there you go. You're in the playoffs.
You're in the playoffs.
What? You strengthen up your defensive line. You get another wide receiver opposite St. Brown, and you're set.
Yeah, and I mean they already moved Randy Gregory.
I would rather. You tell me at this point right now, you wouldn't rather have Jerry Jeudy than Jameis Williams.
I'd rather have Jameson Williams.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Really? I can't believe you just said that.
because Jerry
At this point,
you're gonna have to pay Jerry Jeudy more money, and Jerry Judy's not proven either. They're both unproven.
what do you mean he's not proven? The guy had over 1,000 fucking yards last year.
Yeah, but what are
with
we?
garbage quarterbacks?
What are we using as the marker? And Jerry Jeudy also has almost a worse injury history than Jameson Williams.
I don't know about that.
I would stay as far
I don't
away
know
from
about
that
that at all.
I was going to say the one guy that I thought they should have taken a flyer on already is in San Francisco.
It's Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
It's Frank Clark. The two
Randy
positions
Randy
at this point.
Gregory is, for some reason, this guy here fucking cannot stay on a team. When
I
Dallas drafted him, it was nothing but
Bullshit.
he was suspended for the first 3 years he was in the league.
Do Kansas City, Sam.
Huh?
Oh wow.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't disagree, but I'd like to see what he does in San Francisco. I think it has a lot of potential.
Travis Kelce is playing this week. We just got an update on Twitter.
Oh, God.
So the ankle seems to be fine. Nick Bolton has cleared. What was he? Was he concussion protocol or was it a?
No, I don't even know. I should know.
He was
considering I put him
out
in my
and then
lineup.
in and then out and then didn't play. But either way, his injury is cleared and he should be playing tomorrow night, which leads us to our Thursday night football preview. The Denver Broncos are heading into Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 10.5 point favorite. Over under in this game is 47.5. Do we have any thoughts? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's a divisional game.
it's a divisional game. The Broncos, their offense isn't bad. They don't have a bad offense, and honestly, I'm looking at the Chiefs on this one. Like, I don't see a gimme for the Chiefs the way they've been playing. I think that this is the perfect medicine, the perfect remedy for our offense is broken. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, and I do think their offense is broken, the perfect remedy is we're playing the Denver Broncos this week. So maybe they'll be able to get things on track a little bit better because Denver's defense is very bad. That being said, I want to see it from Kansas City. And then defensively, like the Broncos put up some points. So you have to do some work defensively to stop them. You got to earn it.
Frank Clark is not playing in this game. And George
That's
Karloff,
surprising to me.
it says illness. That to me says
I'll tell you
crazy.
something right now. I'm surprised that you don't see half the players on that team just giving up.
Illness, you don't see it with half the players on the team, the illness.
They're all just sick to their stuff.
It'll probably happen eventually, and that's one of the reasons why you sell everything.
And
Right.
Karloftis is extremely questionable right now with a hamstring injury. I agree. This is the thing. Kansas City still hasn't. I'm not blown away. It's not otherworldly yet. It could maybe get to that this week. Denver's playing for pride right now, though. That 10.5 is a lot for me to swallow, especially because I'm not head over heels with Kansas City at the moment, and Denver has found a way to put up a lot of points. I'm still going to take Kansas City to cover the 10.5 in this game, but I'm going to go over. I think we're going to get a lot of points out of this.
I'm with you. It's a big number, but I think that this is exactly what the Chiefs needed. It's perfectly timed in the schedule, especially on short week. The Chiefs are always prepared on short weeks. I like the big number, the Chiefs covering the 10.5, and I also like the over. I still think their defense is partially broken, and Russ knows how to do what he can do in that one.
I agree. I'm going to take the Chiefs in the over.
Really?
Yep.
I thought you'd pick Denver to cover this game.
No, I just think that Denver's going to put some points up, but I don't think it'll be close.
Yeah,
if they're missing as many guys as they're saying they're going to miss, I don't see them really having a chance to upset them or anything like that, especially at Arrowhead.
Real quick, before it just so in case this changes your mind, Javonte Williams is playing.
Playing?
He's playing.
It doesn't matter. I think the McLaughlin kid's better than him anyway.
He did look really nice.
Yeah, he's nice.
He's been
That kid's the truth.
So we're all on the same page. Kansas City -10.5 and the over.
Yeah.
Briefly recapping Monday Night Football last night.
You got this right, Uncle Sam.
You did. You hit this one right on the head. Packers headed into Allegiant Stadium on the Las Vegas Strip, and Jordan Love picked the game away against the Raiders. Raiders came out victorious 17-13.
Did anybody even watch that?
Did you see Josh
did.
McDaniels tried to choke
you
it away
watch
again?
He tried to throw it away.
He tried his best.
He tried his damnedest.
Yep.
There
And I
was
think
a
their
couple of-
kicker's good.
there
I
was
think they got a
couple
good
of throws
Carlson.
in there that I was just like, what the utter fuck? That should have been interceptions, and they weren't. I don't know what Garoppolo was looking at. I don't know if the guy ran the wrong route. I know he had two receivers in the same spot.
He was looking at
which
Brock Purdy
usually
taking his
means-
job.
Huh?
He was looking at Brock Purdy taking his job. Sorry,
I don't know.
I
But I truly thought that he was really making so. I don't know if it was somebody ran the wrong route or whatever, but let's. There's no way that Green Bay should have even been in that game.
They shouldn't have. Green Bay should have been
They should have been
Blown
fucking
out.
stomped in that game.
blown out.
And for them to hang around like they did, I'll give it this much. Jordan Love is not what anybody thought he was.
I mean, my God.
Are we confirming that? You think with the 2-game body of work, we're confirming that for
Oh, yeah.
for certain?
Oh yeah.
I think
I think after yesterday, when you had a team basically coaching their way out of the fucking game and still win, sort of like Brandon Staley does and fucking with the Chargers, I think after seeing that yesterday, Josh McDaniels is fucking garbage. How this guy is still in this league. Maybe as a coordinator, he's not bad, but as a head coach, he's terrible.
did you
He's
see
fucking terrible.
Did you see the creep show sitting up in the box shaking his head with his 26-year-old
you know
girlfriend?
what?
His girlfriend's 26.
Yeah, she loves him for who he is.
True love. She
True
loves him
love.
for his haircut.
26 years old with how old is fucking that motherfucking weirdo?
That corpse.
I'm surprised he has a girl in his fucking thing anyway. but-
Listen, I hate to step on your toes, but that was not the 26-year-old that was seen last year. It's a new blonde, and she's
Oh.
a musician from Australia, and she looks a little bit more haggard. She plays guitar, and she wears sunglasses
if
constantly.
she
She's got
plays
a
guitar,
Name.
she's cool.
She's got a name. Barstool did an article on them on all of his
How old
girls.
is Mark Davis?
He's 68.
He's actually
68?
He's actually dead.
Is he
He's
that
deceased.
fucking old?
He's been
I didn't
deceased
realize
for
he
a
was
few
that old.
years.
Orianthi.
Orianthi, that's her.
Okay.
Anyway. Orianthi. I'm gonna say this. We may have preliminarily, I think me especially, we may have given Jordan Love I think I gave him a little bit too much credit too early because it was bad last night.
Do you think it's
It was
over?
bad.
Do you
And not
think it's
to
over
say-
for
I
him?
don't think it's over. I'm not going to say it's over. Like I mean, I think Jordan Love will have some success in this league. They're without Bakhtiari. That's kind of
Correct.
a big hit.
Their
They're
offensive line
without
is
Aaron
still bad.
Jones. I think that's a hit. Like
That's huge.
so, I'm not ready to throw in the towel on Jordan Love.
Because
It
what's
has
his
just
name
been
actually
bad.
was serviceable yesterday.
AJ Dillon wasn't
He
awful.
was serviceable. And
wasn't
he's
awful.
not good.
I think they just need to reel Jordan Love in a little
They
bit,
do.
and they need to put him in better situations, better throwing situations. They need to suit the offense to fit him a little bit more, instead
they
of we're just going
drafted
to
two-
chuck it.
They've drafted 2 tight ends and do not fucking throw to either one of them.
And Musgrave's really good.
I don't fucking understand it.
And their receivers are serviceable too. Watson,
Their receivers
Dobbs, and Reed
They
are,
have
are not
really good
bad.
receivers.
It's
Let's
not a
be
bad
honest. They're
trio.
Young. They're fucking young. I get it. But you got 2 rookie tight ends that were very highly touted in this draft class and are on this team that don't see the fucking football. And it's just ridiculous. It's fucking, what are you doing?
But see,
What the fuck are you doing?
I don't think the Raiders look that much better. That's the problem.
No, they're doo-doo. They're doo-doo.
I don't think the
Listen,
Raiders. Max Crosby is an absolute animal, and Jacoby Myers had a good game. Outside of that,
Kobe Myers was the best receiver on the field yesterday.
I don't disagree with that. I really
I'm
don't
not
disagree with
trying
that.
to take anything away from Devontae Adams.
From Hunter
because
Renfrow.
I'm a fan. I really thought, go back fucking
I think
4
Devontae
years
Adams is
ago,
still a
he
little
was
banged up.
one of the top guys in the league, period.
I think he's still a little banged up.
It's Wednesday.
But Josh Jacobs, the guy's running hard. He just has no fucking blocking. My God, that offensive line, it was fucking disgusting watching it.
You want to know what my takeaway from the game was? It's great to be a Lions fan.
Amen.
2-game lead in the division now, thanks to that.
Amen.
And don't
That's the
look
only
back.
reason why I was glad they lost.
And do not look back.
Yeah.
Don't relinquish this lead. Make it grow every week. Pour some water on it. Watch it flourish in the Florida sun this weekend.
Indeed.
I just hope they come in ready. Last time they went down south, they got their asses punched.
There's a lot of ass punching so far this
They
week.
got their ass punched last time they went down south to Carolina.
I got a text from somebody that said that they did a count on how many times you said fuck in this episode, and it was at 127.
Is that your dad? Did
No.
your dad say that?
No, it wasn't my dad.
Because your dad doesn't like when I use the F word.
You were at 127 fucks today.
Your dad doesn't like when I use
Do
the
you
F
and
word.
Sam get along? Are you guys
No.
friends?
No, you want to
and
know
his
what?
father?
Do you want to know what? My dad actually loves everything that's going on right now. He's gone on and on about how great we are and about how when we all get heated, how entertaining it is and how we have such a great show going. You want to know what the only thing he was pissed about? And it's in regards to you. Your
That doesn't
take,
surprise-
your Miguel Cabrera take.
Stop.
He was
stop,
fucking
Miguel
so
Cabrera.
mad. He
Come
was
on,
so
dude.
mad that you disrespected Miguel Cabrera.
He
last
turned us off.
Yeah, he shut it. He said that's the only episode he shut off because the things about Miguel Cabrera was ridiculous.
Is Miguel Cabrera a great player? Yes, he was. He was a great player for the Marlins. Not for the Tigers, the Marlins.
Ugh,
Oh,
God, you doubled down.
Triple crown.
But
Doubled down.
Triple crown.
hey, listen,
batting titles.
there's other guys here that played bigger parts in Detroit's success than Miguel Cabrera.
Anyways,
What? Kirk Gibson. What? Kirk Gibson. He had bigger home runs for Detroit than fucking Miguel Cabrera ever did. He won him a championship. Wasn't just him, it was the whole team in general. But come on, dude. I was there. I know. I seen it. Your dad was there too. He should know. He was there when fucking Al Kaline played. He should fucking know that.
you have to remember he holds Miguel
Al Kaline.
he holds Miguel Cabrera in highest regard of any Detroit athlete ever.
Does he really?
Ever.
Well,
Yep.
what was he drinking? Just doesn't remember when Al Kaline played? What? Jesus Christ.
My dad was a big Cabrera guy. He went to Kohl's and got me the Majestic. Remember when Majestic had all the baseball stuff? He got me the Triple Crown shirt.
That's the shit right there.
Yeah.
That's one you hold.
I'm going to tell you a guy that I thought hit probably the biggest home run that I've seen in since Kirk Gibson put one out of the fucking ballpark here onto Trumbull. And I'm going to tell you right now,
Said it last
You thought it was a Tiger?
Baglio Ordonez, when he hit that home run that sent them to the fucking World Series in 06, to me, that was one of the biggest hits that I personally ever seen. You were fucking there, correct?
Yep.
You and your dad were there at that game, no?
Correct. Yes, we were there.
Yes. That's probably one of the biggest home runs I've ever seen in my time. That lifted Detroit out of the ashes of garbage, because that's what they were the year before. They lost 114 games the fucking year before. And that guy, they went from worst to first. And him and one other guy that I'm going to give a shout out, Kenny Rogers.
Great. Kenny Rogers. How
He
did
was
we end up here?
absolutely fucking incredible that year.
Okay.
Incredible.
Real quick before we end.
What? You just cut me off on Kenny Rogers?
Yeah, because Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know how
What?
we ended up on Kenny Rogers.
22 and a half scoreless innings. It was a fucking
We've been on here for
major
2
league
hours,
record.
and you're talking about
major
Kenny
league
Rogers.
record.
2 hours, and you're talking about Kenny Rogers.
Well, you brought up baseball. I'm telling you, my moment
That's
was
great.
watching him mow down the fucking Yankees and the fucking
There's
Oakland
Jahmyr
A's.
Gibbs news. Can I talk about it real quick?
Yeah.
What?
Jahmyr Gibbs is looking doubtful to play this weekend after not practicing today with a hamstring injury.
Said he's day to day is what Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell said this about his running back situation today. David Montgomery is that type that carries the load. The other one is a changeup. You always want a guy that you can take on 20 to 25 carries.
Talking about baseball again?
So if what?
Nothing.
You said change up and it triggered him. It's like getting your back cracked the wrong way.
Anyways, if you own Jahmyr Gibbs, it's probably time to move on. Shout out to cousin Steve. Also, Amon-Ra practiced today. Brian Branch did not.
But Brian Branch was working on the side with the trainer.
Whatever. They need to just hold him out.
Anything else that's not Kenny fucking Rogers related?
No, they need to hold Brian Branch out. I don't want to see him play this week.
Zolo, anything to add?
No, I'm afraid.
He doesn't need to play this week. They don't need him this week. They don't.
Okay.
They don't. They need to go down there, take care of business.
Hey, you want to know what?
And fucking take care of
You want to know who they should put in there this week?
What?
Kenny Rogers. That'd be a nice.
Whatever, dude.
Life
Knucklehead. Fucking knucklehead.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, check us out on YouTube and remember to click subscribe. Join us in the comments on YouTube. It's always a fun ride there. Thank you so much for listening. You will hear from us again Friday morning, early show. Wake up. Join us.